John, so we were going to have a little bit of time just to have dialogue and if there's other points and if there's other people who want to come and say something. But maybe as we've just got 10 minutes left, shall I just start by kind of summarizing where I think maybe we're up to and what I think are some of the ways forward? Because obviously, as a number of people have raised, where is it we're going? What's next is a really important question. And I think, we in task in the Therapy and Social Change Network have been trying to think around and think about how we can take forward a campaign around emotional health and well-being in schools and to really prioritize that and what that might look like. And what's been fantastic about today is to bring together professional bodies, to hear from the professional bodies, and I think to hear how much enthusiasm there is for a campaign and along those lines and how much that aligns with the voices and the needs of the young people that we've listened to, parents and people allied to the education work. Obviously, it needs to be something that needs to be broadened out, but also bringing the professional bodies together. And very importantly, as even Emma were just talking about, with co-production as well and having the voices of young people right at the heart of that. I think some of the things that we're doing or some of the ways that we're seeing is going forward is one, that there's a WhatsApp group that we're beginning to talk about and at least we have a forum in which people can stay in touch and be talking about these things and talk about events. And perhaps, John, if we can put the link to that WhatsApp group in the discussion, that would be really useful. We talked about other events in terms of a conference, and perhaps Claudia would like to say in a minute something of what's going on in Hackney. One of the things that's come up for me today, and it was something Jocelyn raised, was about a kind of forum for emotional health and well-being for kids across the professional organisation. I think that's a fantastic idea. And maybe, I mean, we'll be taking away, John, Cassandra, Claudia, and myself, we'll be taking away and thinking about how we can bring together everything that people have said today in terms of steps forward. But I've got a feeling that that could be a really positive next step, is to be getting people with young people involved as well through for instance, McPin, to really think about how we can promote and how we can develop a campaign across, because it has been so nice hearing about the different professions working together. I think something else that we've thought a lot about that maybe would be a next step would be a petition based on a kind of working document we have. And John, maybe we can put that in the chat as well in terms of where we're up to with a document which tries to articulate some kind of vision of emotionally healthy schools, because I think although there's a lot of organizations and groups working on it and working around it, a kind of dedicated, committed, holistic campaign, which is saying we want schools to be a place of thriving emotional health and well-being, is something that I think would be quite unique and would have a very special place. And from the people we've spoken to, and I think from today, there seems to be a lot of enthusiasm for that. So that's kind of where I'm at, I think, just trying to bring together some of the things. I don't know if there's other points that people would like to make, or people who maybe haven't spoken would like to share something. We've got about just under 10 minutes.
Maybe I can just briefly mention about the, sorry, is that okay? Thanks very much, Mick. So, well, in Hackney, we are the borough that has one of the highest level of exclusions in inner London. And we brought a very important invitation about school exclusion. So we're going to have a 1-year event to look at what has come up from that invitation. A lot of movement has been sort of created on the topic. And so everyone is invited to the 5th of July. We will be sending more information. There will be a public meeting where we're going to hear from young people, parents, developments. There will be a report. It'll be really amazing to have you all. So we'll share details there. I won't take too much time here. But there has been a very important year of movement around this and the seriousness of wanting change. So I think this is the moment to not stop and continue until it happens.
Thanks, Claudia.
And that's the 5th of July, Claudia?
That's right. That's the 5th of July here in Hackney. It will be in the youth organization, the CRIP, which is the organization that brought the deputation to the council last year in July. We will be sharing the details here with everyone. But that's one of the initiatives that will be coming up.
Wonderful. Yes. I'm just noticing how many organizations are represented in the chat as well. Our colleagues that are here Whereas that also feels really exciting that there's lots of colleagues represented through those organizations that could create a real groundswell around the campaign or
I have
like
seen,
collaborations. Yeah.
oh, sorry, John. I have seen actually a number of people have put the details of organizations that are representing, and they are keen to be contacted and follow up and join forces, which is really appreciated. Thank you, everyone.
So checking in with us in the WhatsApp group or an email to the task email address or
Yeah.
or
Or
you can't find us, pop an email over to online events and we'll send the email over to task as well.
yeah, or just email me directly or task. That would be great. I think it was Joe, someone who was saying about the kind of the way organizations in the history of therapy have often been so divided, and it's really, you were saying that, Joe, it's time to get over themselves and actually.
Absolutely. It's all about egos, isn't it, when it becomes something on that level? And yeah, we need to be working together. Being in competition with other professional bodies to me just seems crazy. It's about choice, isn't it? Just like buying what tin of beans you want.
But it's so
We don't all hate beans.
It's so refreshing, Joe, that you say that, because I think that everyone has welcomed that. The idea also of the film, and I think maybe Rachel might want to add something to that. I think this is the beginning of a great moment. I don't know if I think Rachel might be in the room that we want to comment on that or not.
No, I'm still here.
Hey, Rachel, did you want to come in?
Yeah, I mean, I just echo what Joe has said about ego. I think that's a lot that I've come against. I mean, I've gone through the whole legal process now via tribunal and the subsequent human rights claim. My daughter basically had to go back. She started at a new school. She had to go back a whole academic year, so she had the best opportunity to achieve her GCSEs, which she's just about to start, and she's doing really, really well. And I think that this is the bit, I suppose, that I really emphasize about how academically driven my kids are, is because this seems to be the narrative. Oh, they're not really struggling with the mental health, they just can't be bothered, they're lazy. And it's like, no, this isn't the case, and that isn't exceptional to my children. That's for many, many children. And if we were talking about adults in a workplace, the doctor would sign you off for a duration of time, and then you'd be back to work with support from HR. It doesn't seem to be mirrored in schools. And I know someone else spoke about primary schools earlier, but in Hackney, from our experience, there is a huge leap, a huge jump between struggles in primary schools to secondary schools, and particularly, 15 out of the 16 secondary schools here are either voluntary aided or academy schools. So again, we come back to these same kind of issues again, of environments of an absolute unwillingness, because quite frankly, it feels like academies just feel like they're above the law. They don't have to follow the guidance, and there's no support locally from the local authority. Yeah, I mean, I always kind of push forward as well. Like, I refuse for us to be a generation that this continues. We're a really well informed generation. We've got a lot of information at the source of our fingertips. I mean, events like this, etc., where actually we can galvanize a community to make change. Because it can't continue like this. It's just a disaster. And I suppose my final point of this, we're talking about kids. That's it. This is their childhood. Never ever will they get it back. We never get it back. It's such a small duration of time in the span of our whole life. And it's just really sad that you see so many kids that are at home when they should be in school, supported in school, and thriving with their peers. It's the absolute isolation that then compounds and makes the situation even more worse than it originally was. I really believe with my daughter, if they had responded to her needs, adequately so in the beginning, that early intervention work, it wouldn't have snowballed. It wouldn't have got to where we were. And similarly with my son as well, he came with a plan, but there was no support in place. There was no speech and language. There was no OT. There was no CAMS. That all came after the exclusion. So therefore, there wasn't even like a common sense approach to say, actually, hold on, this child's not even had an annual review for 18 months. It was just, and I saw someone wrote in the chat as well about parents and, obviously vulnerable parents and having challenging times, trauma themselves from school. And I get that. I had a traumatic time at school, but let's not confine that, like put that to somewhere that it is. We still need to focus on the child. That's the absolute duty here. We need to be focused on our kids.
And we're learning a lot from you, Rachel, and I think there will be a lot of parents. And I just want to add to that as a Latin American parent, a non-English speaker, native speaker, this is a huge challenge for parents that don't speak English language, and they are faced with 200 pages document in a language that you don't understand and you don't know where to go, and it has to also be said. Thanks very much, Rachel. I think we're going to start wrapping up soon. Is that correct? We have a lot of work ahead, and how exciting. Yes, we can. I'm getting very political. My counselor hat is coming in to close the event.
I always think of Bob the Builder when you say, yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Us parents in the room will get that.
Well, and that's why we're here, isn't it? Because we want to gather that energy together and come together and to fix it. Absolutely, Rachel. Yes.
Brilliant.
What an incredible 2 hours. There's so much.
I'm feeling a bit emotional too. So thanks everyone for holding this space.
Absolutely. The special thank you, Claudia and Cassandra and Mick, for all the work that's went in behind the scenes to gather everybody together. It's just really been a very, very wonderful 2 hours. And for all the colleagues who've agreed to come on the panels, it's been really moving. And from the personal experience and the professional experience to how we can come together when often we are divided. So really important.
Wonderful. Thank you.